Hey, what's up guys? It's Pedro here from noobcoder.com, and in this tutorial we're going to be talking about switch statements. Now a switch statement is just another conditional statement. So to start off, I'm going to create a variable called number. I'm going to assign it the value of 1, and to create a switch statement you just type switch, parentheses, and then you have our curly braces. Sort of like an if statement. Within our parentheses, you will put an expression. And to make things simpler, I'm just going to pass in the variable number. And number is obviously 1. So within here, we can put our cases. So I'm going to say case 1, colon. And then I can hit enter, tab. And this is where we could put our code. So you could think of this as an if statement. If number matches this number, case 1, execute this code. So I'm going to say console.log 1, end it with a semicolon. And you could use more than one line of code. So I could actually put 2 lines of code. And you can make this as long as you want. It doesn't matter. I'm going to hit Control S to save. Control B. Right click. Reveal in Explorer, hit index.html, F12, and you can see here that we get 2 printouts onto the console of 1. So if we head back to our editor, opening up Visual Studio Code, hit Control B, we can see why we got 2 printouts of 1. We passed in the number, case 1, 1 is equal to 1, and that's why this executed. Now let's create another case. So I'm going to say case 2, colon, and I'm going to say console.log 2, end it with a semicolon, Control S to save. Now this is not going to run as expected, and I'm purposely letting this happen. So let's head over to Chrome, hit refresh. Now you can see something peculiar happen. We get our 2 printouts of 1 as expected, but we also get the printout of 2. So in order to fix that, we need to use a special keyword called break. Now break is not exclusive to switch statements, but what it does is it breaks us out of the block of code that we're currently in. So right now, we're in this block of code. If I insert a break statement here, end it with a semicolon, Control S to save, we should get the desired result. Since case 1 is going to execute because number is 1, head over to Chrome, hit refresh, and now we don't have the problem of case 2 executing when we want case 1 to execute. Now let's head over back to our editor. And now I want to give you the equivalent of an else statement. So we know an else statement basically executes if every condition above it fails. So the equivalent in a switch statement is to use the keyword default, followed by a colon. And now I could type whatever code I want here. So I could say, whoops, all else have failed, and then with a semicolon, and let's change number to be assigned the value of 4, so Control S to save. And obviously we do not have a case 4, we only have a case 1, a case 2. So let's head over to our editor, to our browser, hit refresh, and you can see all else has failed. Now there are a couple of loose ends that I want to address. So if we head back to our editor, you only need a break statement if you're not the last case within a switch statement. So what I mean by that is if I change this to 2, hit Control S to save, go to Chrome, hit refresh, you can see case 2 executes, but the default case executes as well. So you have to be the last case in order to not use a break statement. So if I head over to my editor, to fix it, we can just insert a break statement like we did for case 1. And since default is our last case, we don't need a break statement here. It'll just execute all else has failed, and then we could go about on our way. So we could also use strings. So instead of a number, I can say change this to name, and I can call this Pedro. And instead of passing in number, I could pass in a name. And let's give a case that we can execute. So I could say case Pedro colon console.log Pedro. And remember, since we're not the last case, we need to insert a break statement. Control S to save. Head over to our browser, hit refresh, and you can see Pedro gets executed.